Hi, I'm Nicola, and this is my Flourish story. It probably started in 2020, right before COVID hit, but it wasn't until this time last year that God spoke to me at Women's Conference saying I've got to give my testimony at a conference next year. And I was like, okay, Lord, so you've got to do something because I haven't got the same testimony as everybody else was sharing last year. I've never had an addiction, never been abused. Obviously, I've had trials, but never anything major until 2020. So we put our visa application in right before COVID hit to get a green card to work our way becoming citizens. So this time last year, we got the news that because of COVID hitting and everything shutting down, the way they're backlogged in all the visa situation, ours hadn't even been looked at yet. So we were going to have to go back to England for a year. So that was devastating. We've been here 16 years. I've got 3 American children born and raised here. I've got 2 British children who they're safe. They're on their own visa. Hannah was getting married and they were safe. So it was Mark and myself and the 3 youngest that were going to have to go back for a year. And we got the news right before conference. And I was like, okay, Lord, so if you're telling me I'm going to be sharing my testimony of what you have done for me, then that must mean I'm going to still be here. So you've got to do it. So in all the midst of the visa situation and everything, in 21, Naomi was hit by this illness. Her colon just stopped functioning. It was perfectly fine. She went to school one day, came home from school in excruciating pain. Her stomach had popped. She had looked like a pregnant little girl. Took it to the ER. Couldn't figure out. They thought it was appendix to start off with. Fast forward a couple of years, it took almost 2 years of tests, surgeries, different doctors and specialists, and they said there's nothing they can do. Her colon isn't functioning. She's got a kink in her colon. They wanted to remove it and give her a colostomy bag. Now, I knew that that wasn't the way to go. I had to pray and ask the Lord to direct us, give us wisdom how to handle this. I did not want to accept what the doctors were saying because I knew that that's not how she was born. I knew this was from the enemy. I knew God was a healer and he could heal her. And I just didn't want to go for the colostomy bag. So we got sent to a specialist in Orlando because they had nothing more to do here. And she said, we've got one last treatment that we can try. And it's basically, we have to do it every night and it could take up to a year to see if anything's working. So that's what we did. She wanted to shock the colon into spasming again to start to function. And just over a year, it started. It happened. Every night when we came to do that treatment, we declared and we prayed over that colon to function the way God had designed it to function. So we were having to deal with that with Naomi, waiting on the visas and the pressure of time running out. And then Nathaniel starts to get all these headaches. In the midst of it all, we thought maybe it's stress related for school, allergies. He was going to different specialists and they thought it was allergy. So they removed his adenoids, put a stent in his nose to try and help him through that. It did help a little bit, but sure enough, as time went on, the headaches got worse. He was feeling nauseous with it, missing lots of time at school. So he was then referred to another specialist, which he requested an MRI to be done and a lumbar puncture. So he had a complication to the lumbar puncture. And again, he was perfectly healthy until all these headaches started. And the doctor says he has no reason to have a complication to the lumbar puncture. He's only 8 years old, but sure enough, he did. again, I knew Nathaniel was a healthy little boy beforehand, and I knew it was all of the enemy. So we just kept decreeing and declaring for him to be healed and whole. The lumbar puncture showed that his pressure levels was far too high, and the MRI showed that he had a 5mm cyst. Go back to conference last year, Cami Cantu, she was preaching one night and she said, hey, I've got a word for Nicola. She didn't know anything about any of our situation other than Naomi. And she said, God's told me to sing this nursery rhyme over you. London Bridge is falling down. Now, with my kids growing up, I have never liked nursery rhymes. I've never sang them because there's always a meaning behind them. But from that day onwards, every day we've sang London's Bridge is falling down, and it was My Fair Lady. And Dave prophesied that we will not be leaving. We will not be moving back. God's going to do this miracle for me. Nobody else, not the kids. They've got their own miracles. But this one, to stay in the country, was for me. Well, after a year, just over a year of Naomi's treatment, we went back to Orlando to her specialist, and she was so happy with the way it was going. Her colon started functioning again. Instead of doing the treatment every night, we've done it as and when she needs it. She doesn't have to go back for another year to Orlando to see the specialist. Nathaniel had to have checkups every 4 weeks on his cyst and his pressure levels. And the last MRI we had done, they cannot find the cyst. I prayed and declared that the cyst would be dissolved in the name of Jesus, and he's done it, it's gone. His pressure levels are down. He's still having to have medication to keep them low. So we're just trusting the Lord for his complete healing. And we got word a couple of days ago that we can stay in the country. Our original visa is still waiting to be looked at. But after having 2 immigration solicitors said there's nothing we can do, we have to leave. One guy from church there isn't there anymore. He had to move away. He says he's an immigration solicitor, and he says, let me see what I can do. And he found a loophole of maybe Mark trying to go for a study visa. And he said it could work, it could not. But we just got news the other day that he was allowed to stay on a study visa while we're waiting for the other visa to be processed. So God's done it. He's done all of it. He's done the miracles for my kids. He's done the miracle for me and my family to stay in the country. And I'm flourishing right now. Okay, so the desert season felt lonely. It felt like God wasn't there. He wasn't hearing me. My daughter Naomi, she was praying her hardest and coming to me and saying, why isn't the Lord, doing anything? She felt alone. She felt like God wasn't hearing her prayers. Why isn't he healing her? And for her to come to me and to be feeling the same way as everything that she was saying, it was rough. I didn't understand why he couldn't heal it, because I knew he could. In an instant, I knew he could. But for some reason, we had to walk through that desert season. And it was rough. It was lonely. It was hard. And it was a lot of tears and a lot of pain and a lot of faith in God. I feel like in that desert season, God grew my trust in him. No matter what it looked like, no matter what the situation was, no matter what the doctor said, I knew God was bigger than that and God could do it. And I knew that even though I was wanting him to do it in an instant, he was stretching us. There was a reason why. Even though if we didn't understand it, all I had to rely on was that the Lord knows better than I do. And there's a reason behind everything that we go through. The good, the bad, and the ugly. There's a reason why we've got to just have faith and trust in him. In the middle of the desert, I learned that his character never leaves us. He's always there. Even when you're feeling that he's not listening, he's not there, he's not hearing you, he is. Even in the quietest moments, he's working behind the scenes. He's never left us. The fruits of the Spirit that grew in me were, the biggest is probably patience and probably kindness, because when you're going through it, you don't want to be kind, you don't want to be nice, you don't want to show love, you don't want to get on with all the everyday stuff. You just want to lock yourself away and hide and just cry and curl up in a ball, I guess. So it had to be patience and kindness and to just show love through it all.